Hello, and thank you for listening to episode 207 of Got Creeps, your favorite podcast that always makes sure to give you your weekly dose of the weird, mysterious, and creepy. We are your hosts. I'm John.
And I'm Leilani.
And remember, if you want to hear your story on Got Creeps, send it over to yougotcreeps@gmail.com or to either of our socials. Mine is at John underscore Raimundo on Instagram and X.
At Leilani May Ramundo on Instagram and on Facebook at Leilani Gilverte.
And today we are going to dive into the chilling tale of the Philadelphia experiment, a journey shrouded in mystery, intrigue, and perhaps a touch of the supernatural. This kind of starts the beginning of our um, conspiracy theory series. Um, so without further ado, let's jump into it. It was a chilly October night in 1943 when Carl Allen found himself aboard the SS Andrew Furuseth, stationed near the USS Elridge. Rumors had been circulating among the crew about a mysterious experiment shrouded in secrecy. As orders came to retreat below deck, Carl's curiosity only grew. The air crackled with tension as the Elridge, surrounded by other ships in plain sight, suddenly appeared abandoned. A low hum filled the air, steadily growing louder until it seemed to vibrate through Carl's bones. Then, the unthinkable happened. The ship began to emit a strange greenish haze, enveloping it in an otherworldly glow. Carl's heart raced as he watched in awe, but his sense of wonder quickly turned into dread when the Elridge vanished before his very eyes, leaving behind nothing but an eerie emptiness. In the aftermath, Carl, like the others, was ordered to keep silent about what he had witnessed, but the memories haunted him for years to come. It wasn't until 1986, now going by the name Carlos and facing terminal health issues, that he felt compelled to share his story. Meeting with a determined reporter named Jim Fraser, Carlos recounted the events of that fateful night. He spoke of the rumors and the horrors that unfolded aboard the Elridge. In the wake of the experiment, sailors fused to the ship, bodies twisted and contorted in unimaginable ways, and other horrible events that happened on the ship. But perhaps the most chilling aspect of Carlos's tale was the account of the survivors, their minds shattered by what they had endured. Some were said to have walked through walls, while others burst into flames or suddenly vanished into thin air. As Carlos delved deeper into the story, he revealed the true purpose of the experiment to unlock the secrets of the unified field theory. Yet, despite scientific ambitions, the experiment had unleashed a nightmare beyond comprehension. To this day, the truth behind the Philadelphia experiment remains shrouded in mystery, a chilling reminder of the dangers. To this day, the truth behind the Philadelphia experiment remains shrouded in mystery, a chilling reminder of the dangers of tampering with forces beyond our understanding. So, um, essentially, what had happened is there was this guy originally who went by Carl Allen. He was part of another ship. I mean, he was a crewman on another ship during the time of the experiment. Um, this day, everybody kind of knew that there was like an experiment going to happen. Nobody knew what it was actually about, but everybody knew that something was going on with the outrage that day, right? Um, so everybody's kind of like watching this ship with like bated breath and kind of like seeing what's gonna happen, what's gonna come of this ship, and as they're watching it, they kind of see the crew eventually leaves like the top of the deck. They don't see anybody, and everybody goes below the deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, you hear this hum, this low hum, and then it starts getting louder and stronger, and then all of a sudden this smokiness, this haze kind of appears over the ship, and the haze starts turning into this like greenish color and then begins to spread, and the haze just continues to spread and then stops pretty much right before it gets to Carl. and you can still see through it. It's not like, it's blocking out their field of view completely. Um, but it does, cause a haze over it. And, a little bit later, all of a sudden there's this huge flash of light that comes from where the Enterprise was. And all of a sudden the Enterprise is gone. Um, and everybody's watching and looking like, what the hell just happened? Like,
The Enterprise is a ship?
the Enterprise is a ship.
Okay, and where is this?
This is in Philadelphia, where the experiment took place.
Like, in the water?
Yeah, that's where ships go.
Well, just like, I don't, I'm not great with geography, so I don't know where waters are in Philadelphia. Is it like a lake? The ocean? Like, where is the, where is the story taking place?
There's like a bay.
Okay.
There's like a river, I guess.
Okay. So it's not like on the open seas.
No, we're not in the middle of the sea because that's
Okay.
not where Philadelphia is.
Yep. That's like I said, I don't not great with geography, so I wasn't sure where it was happening.
So then the haze was right in front of them, and the ship disappeared, and everybody's kind of like, what the hell just happened? Like, the ship just vanished. And Carl was there, and he's like, super curious, as you kind of would be in this situation. So he reaches out his hand and tries to like touch the fog to see if like it would do anything, but he said that it felt like his hand was being like pushed back, like he was feeling some like resistance when he tried to push the or touch the smoke. A few minutes later, the big flash of light comes back,
Mm-hmm.
and the ship reappears. And then, a few minutes later, everybody's kind of ordered to return to shore, right? And as they're returning to shore, Carl sees that there are technicians and people going to investigate the Enterprise. He doesn't really see um, the inside of the Enterprise, but he does see, people going in to investigate. And, curiosity kind of got the better of him, and he kind of did a little bit of digging himself after this day.
Okay.
Um, but it wasn't until 43 years later that Carl, now going by Carlos, actually decided to tell his story. He was having a ton of health issues. He was pretty much on his deathbed, but he was like, you know what? I should probably tell somebody about what happened. And so he went to look for anybody who would listen, really. And he found a man named Jim Frazier. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll tell your story."
The name's really familiar.
Yeah. I don't know what else he did, but name sounds pretty familiar. So this is kind of the gist of what Carlos had told Jim. So back on the Elridge in 1943, when the investigation was conducted, the technicians were in charge of investigating pretty much everything that happened with the experiment and stuff. So they boarded the ship and began their investigation. Um, a lot of them said that it was one of the most horrific things that they have witnessed. And as they continued on, it was just progressively worse and worse. Um, and I believe somebody said that like it looked like something like out of hell. So I mean, first things first, when they get onto the ship, all the power is gone. So they're going through this ship with flashlights. And I don't know if you've ever been, on a ship. I know you have, but when you're walking through and you're especially like in the middle and the inside of the ship, you can't have windows in there. So it's pitch black on the inside of this ship.
Yeah.
And they're having to navigate and go through and investigate with just flashlights. Um, so when the team of investigators finally found the first group of guys, it was very apparent that the experiment had taken a toll on them. Some of the sailors were unconscious, just laying on the ground.
Before we go too far into it, how much time has elapsed
This
since?
is immediately after they
Okay.
came back.
Okay.
Yeah. Because remember, Carlos had said like he saw the investigators go to the ship
Yeah.
while the rest of them were coming back to
Right.
shore. So this was like immediately after. Um, yeah. So a couple people were unconscious, just on the ground, and like they tried to wake them up. They tried to like shake them, yell at them, do some smelling salts, whatever they had to do. They were not budging. They were unconscious. They were alive, just basically in a coma. Some of the crew members were, awake, but like completely frozen, unable to move, just kind of just there, just in this like catatonic state.
Hmm.
Um, Other sailors were screaming uncontrollably. Some of them were just mumbling to themselves. Like it was a mess. It was a pretty crazy sight to see. um as they progressed and stuff into the ship, and they saw more things, they saw the real crazy stuff that had happened. um Supposedly there was one sailor whose arm had somehow gotten fused to the bulkhead. Like his arm and bones were inside of the bulkhead in the ship. um
Okay.
there was one sailor's lower body was literally in the floor. It looked like he just fell through the floor and stopped halfway, apparently. Um,
What in the glitch in the matrix is fucking happening?
right. Various sailors. Oh, I'm sorry. The worst of it was when they found some sailors who looked like they got literally flipped inside out, where clothes and dog tags were visible through clumps of flesh. Um, as the investigation continued on, slowly those who weren't dead began to regain began to regain consciousness, and then eventually began to scream in shock or pain. So it was just, more screaming in this gigantic echoing chamber, this giant metal echoing chamber where you have hundreds of guys just screaming in pain. Like that in itself would be like a crazy like thing to hear. So the ones who obviously didn't get fused to the ship were allowed to leave.
The ones that obviously didn't get fused.
Yeah, because that's a thing that happens. Um,
It's a very obvious thing that happens.
yeah,
Like every morning I have to make sure I didn't get fused to the ship.
yeah. You have to make sure that you didn't get fused to the bed. You got to double check sometimes.
Every single morning I wake up in Las Vegas, Nevada, I have to make sure I did not get fused to the ship.
Yeah, it happens. Um, so those guys, they're able to leave. They get to go home. They shouldn't have. I don't think they should have been allowed to go home. But
Where else
they
are they gonna
did.
go?
I don't know. I think they need to be. They should have been studied or monitored or something for a little bit after this experiment. Their crewmates and their other fellow sailors were inside of the ship.
That ain't got nothing to do with them.
I
They're
mean,
fine.
that definitely calls for some sort of like, hey man, let's just take a beat. Let's sit down. Let's talk a little bit. Um, but yeah, these sailors were sworn to secrecy. But they actually ended up being some of the most bizarre cases. Um, being fused to a ship is definitely bizarre, sure, but once you get into the things that these people did, and what happened to some of these people, it's kind of crazy. Um, some of the survivors would just be talking to, whoever, and reportedly just vanish, just disappear
For how long? Where do they go?
forever, apparently.
Like they're talking
Like,
in
imagine,
front of
yeah,
somebody.
imagine us having this conversation. We're recording it right now, and then all of a sudden, I was gone. That's it. Like, poof.
They got blipped
They got blipped. They got Thanos without the dust.
and nobody talked about that?
Yeah,
Nobody said a thing.
right. We're gonna get into why. I mean, not really. Like, I really can't find a good reason, like, as to why. But, we'll get into that. One of the other people, who was released, they said that they saw him walking towards a wall, walk through the wall, and then they never saw him again.
Where are these people going?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, I mean, maybe we know, but we don't know how to get there or get to them. Um, oh, this one I think that you'll like the most. Um,
I don't think I like any of them.
so this one, he was having a conversation, when he kind of just like all of a sudden just like zoom, like froze, and then bursted into flames.
Spontaneous human combustion.
Bursted into flames, apparently. Um, right. So I knew you would like that one, so I had to make sure to write that one down. Um,
That's a good one.
so one of the theories as to like what happened, when the ship
I don't
kind
even care anymore.
of
I just like the fact that these people are doing these things.
just combusting and disappearing,
Yeah, I don't need to know what happens after this or before this.
just no clipping out of reality,
All I need to know is that there's
something.
yeah, that's it.
They went somewhere that's not here.
They are here. We just can't see them anymore.
Um, yeah, yeah. So like, what happened to them is kind of crazy. But and I mean, this is like the one that kind of like makes the most sense to me. Um, because what they said was that like because of this experiment and like they went into all the like sciencey stuff, like as to like why this is like possible in theory and like what happened in theory, but I didn't like fully understand it. So I
Okay.
didn't want to talk about it because I don't understand it. Um uh but what is like the gist of it is that when the ship disappeared, it somehow got kicked out of sync with the current reality. So those few minutes that it wasn't here, apparently it was like part of like a different reality,
Okay.
and so it's not in sync with our reality, which is why these people are just disappearing, spontaneously combusting. When they disappeared and reappeared, like they probably were in different positions, and like the ship moved or they moved, and that's why they got fused. So, like, that's kind of the reason why, like, it got knocked out of sync with our time, with our world. That's one of the explanations. Um,
Okay.
mm.
Like manifest,
Yeah,
but
kind of like manifest.
in a ship?
Yeah. Actually, that's kind of crazy. I didn't even think of Manifest. Creep pick. It's
I haven't even seen the show, so couldn't
a
I
good show.
couldn't
It's my creep pick.
I could not recommend it.
My creep pick is Manifest. Um. Oh. Another thing that happened was, when the ship disappeared, there was reports that the ship, while it was gone from Philadelphia, was seen in Virginia.
Well, how do they know what this looks like?
I mean, it's the USS Enterprise.
I don't know what it looks like.
Looks like a giant pizza cutter. Just kidding. That was a Star Trek joke. Um, I mean, I would notice if a ship just suddenly appeared.
I don't. I mean, I guess, but how do they know it's that ship? How do they know it's the USS Enterprise?
I don't know. I guess they
Like,
don't.
it could just be a regular
Another
ship. It could
another
just
ship
be
that just
Captain Hook's ship.
yeah, another ship that just randomly appeared.
Yeah.
It
Like the
very well
Jolly
could be.
Roger. The Jolly Roger. It could have just been the Jolly Roger.
Yeah, it very well could have been. Um because again, it's bringing it back to like it being knocked out of sync with our reality. So maybe there was another parallel universe
Well,
where they were doing the experiment at the exact same time, just so happened to be in Virginia this time. And then from that universe, their USS Enterprise somehow appeared in our universe,
you're looking really crazy right now.
right? And then our USS Enterprise that was in Philadelphia went to their Philadelphia.
Okay.
Could all be connected.
Sure.
Um but yeah, so because of all of the crazy things that happen with all the survivors and stuff, Carlos did say that he fully believes that the government is covering up the Philadelphia experiment,
Well, of course.
and that's why nobody talks about it. We don't know about it. There's actually a movie about it. Um, so people think that they created that movie as like a no, it's not real. Like it's just a movie. Don't worry about it. Um, And the movie is apparently I haven't seen the movie, but it's apparently like very close to, the actual story of what happened in the Philadelphia experiment. Um, and there's a lot of things when Carlos went back and tried to like do more research on it. There's a lot of things that like kind of just didn't add up, right?
Hmm.
Like when he was trying to find info on the USS Enterprise, it actually was had just I don't know the word for it, but like launched, I guess. Like had just been put into use
Oh,
like a few months before the experiment.
yeah.
What's the word for that?
I think it starts
You
with
you know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah.
But anyways, like that
It
like it
just got in commission.
yeah. That's like what I mean to say. I don't think that's the right word, but that's what I mean to say. Um so yeah, it was only like around for a few months
I think you would
before.
say it was only in commission.
Right. It was only in commission for a few months, 6 months. No, I'm sorry. It was only in commission for a few months, August, September, October, 3 months before this had happened. But it was supposedly in New York for the first three.
Oh, I thought it was going from Virginia to New York and Philadelphia all together.
No, for the first three or for the first 6 months of its like initial deployment, it was in New York. So it couldn't have been where they said it was. Um, and on top of that, when they look at the ship log shows that the ship was in the Bahamas at the time of the experiment.
See, this is why I asked you where it was, because this is very important, and apparently I'm on the same track as Carlos here. Good old Carlos, who used to be Carl, and
Yeah,
then added an os at the end.
yeah. He
Why did
wanted a
he
little bit
change
of
his name?
spice.
Is he even a person who should be named Carlos?
Maybe, maybe something happened when he tried to touch the smoke.
What, he added two letters to his name?
Yeah, the smoke makes you Hispanic.
Maybe.
Uh, Um, 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 yeah, and kind of like the last thing is that like there are records of us trying to do experiments similar to this, using principles similar to this and technology similar to this, but this specific experiment, the Philadelphia experiment with the USS Enterprise, on paper never happened. According to Carlos, definitely happened, and definitely something that we should be talking about, because if this shit happened, this is crazy. But also why we don't fuck with teleportation, because the math that goes into like figuring out how teleportation works is insane, because you have to factor into the you have to factor in like the fact that we are constantly in motion
Yeah.
in all directions, so you have to like figure out where you're supposed to be, because you can't just say like, oh, I'm going to teleport 100 feet away, because again the earth is spinning,
Mm-hmm.
we're rotating around the sun is probably rotating around.
Well, I'm sure there's a mathematical equation for that specifically already.
I don't know, because you got to take into
Well, just
account
because
like
you don't use it doesn't mean there isn't.
maybe, but can you imagine how difficult that must be? Well, I guess not, because
Yeah.
I guess you would just need to figure out the speed and the direction.
And
I don't know, that
for
sounds
all we know, we travel out of in outer space very often. Not very often, but more so than, I don't know, not. So I'm sure you need to have some sort of mathematical equation to know what happens in space and then use it on Earth.
right, but that's like you're still physically moving. You're not teleporting. I think teleporting is much different because you can't see where you're going. You're supposed to like the whole idea of it is like instantly taking one thing from one area to another area.
Right, but the basis of that would be already knowing what is going on with the Earth rotating
Right?
and the speed of light and all of that. So that's the basis of that formula. I'm sure somebody already has, or multiple somebody's already have that figured out.
Maybe.
And
I'm not smart enough to know if that exists or not.
like I was telling you, and like we were listening to this other podcast, like imagination is literally just the basis of what we can do,
Hmm.
because people only use 10%, everybody only uses 10% of their brain. There's 90% that isn't used.
Oh yeah, I try to tap into that other 90% like all the time. I'll
I
sit there
never
and like
do.
try to use like 11 powers and shit.
I never do because I know eventually it's just going to happen and I'm just going to wait for it to run its course.
I can't wait until the day I get superpowers. And I know that there is one person out there who watches the show who is very much looking forward to the day that I get superpowers. And you know exactly who you are.
That person is not waiting for the day that you get superpowers.
I
They
think
are
he is.
actually hoping and praying that you never
No,
do.
I think he can't wait. I think he's actively searching for a way to get me superpowers, actually.
Actually, I think you are completely wrong in your relationship with that person because he is actively trying to seek out ways to kill you before you get superpowers.
No, no, no. It's okay. It's fine. No, no. We're good. But that's all for the Philadelphia experiment. I mean, that's all that I have for the Philadelphia experiment. Um, like I said, this kind of like starts our conspiracy theory series, maybe. I don't know. Um, because there's a lot that we can get into, and I love talking about conspiracy theories. Even the ones that like I don't think are like necessarily true. I just like talking about them. And like I'll play both sides. I don't give a shit. I just like talking about conspiracy theories. I think one of my favorite ones is the hollow earth theory. And I fully believe in the hollow earth theory. You hear about that
Yeah, we talked about it multiple times now.
on the show?
No, not on the show. Well, yes, on season 1 of the show, yeah.
Ha! Can't watch it anymore.
Actually, I don't know if we did. I don't think that ever made the cut to the episodes that we actually put out.
There's a ton of episodes that were recorded for season 1 that just got scrapped. Um, so yeah, you're probably right. Uh, but you know, Hollow Earth theory, super cool. The whole thing about Antarctica, super cool.
Mhm.
I love conspiracy
On that
theories.
same note, Atlantis,
Atlantis? I don't think Atlantis is a conspiracy theory. I think Atlantis really existed.
well, it would count as a conspiracy theory
I guess, but like, I don't know.
because there are 100% believers of conspiracy theories that are saying like I don't think that this is a conspiracy theory because this actually happened.
Yeah, that's true. But it would still be classified as yeah.
Exactly.
I still think that Atlantis is real and still exists.
Which is why I believe in mermaids.
Yeah. But I don't think they're like Ariel.
No,
I think they're more like the scary ones in Harry Potter.
the sirens.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that that's what I imagine mermaids to be like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what a lot of people believe mermaids are.
You know, it'd be really funny if we're like way off and it's like top half fish, bottom half human.
Yeah. Like Joe and Frankie talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just hope there's never a thing that they're ever right about.
Yeah.
So,
Um, what else is there was like another like lost city like that.
Roanoke?
Roanoke Island is really cool. I wanna do something about Roanoke
We did
Island.
already talk about Roanoke again
We
on
definitely
season 1.
we for sure did. I know that for sure. Um,
My favorite new conspiracy theory, the fact that Benjamin Franklin is a witch.
I don't think he's a witch.
If you know, you know.
I think he's a god.
Well, he thinks he's a god.
I think
And I am saying thinks as in like present tense because I fully believe Benjamin Franklin is still alive. We're not going to get into who I think he is right now, but we will eventually. I can't put that out there yet.
we haven't done enough research on it yet.
Oh, I did a good amount of
Oh,
research.
I was on the phone with you guys.
Yeah. And that was 2 hours in.
Yeah.
And there was another 2 hours after that because then we got into it when we got back into the office and there was more information that was added.
I
There
mean,
is
like
a
there.
whole lot about our Benny boy.
Yeah, and I mean, like, obviously, you know about the whole conspiracy theory that like all the world's social elites are like youth sucking vampires who sacrifice people to remain
Yeah,
young forever. So I mean, like, it's not too far fetched.
exactly. I know. I
Bridget
came up
Medler,
with it.
you're a time traveler.
She's not a time traveler. She is just Benjamin Franklin. There it is. There you have it. There you have it,
I
folks.
wasn't gonna give it away. I just wanted to talk about her time traveling.
Speaking of time traveling, he told me that this episode was about time traveling, so I knew not to listen to him on what the episode was about. So I didn't base any of my picks on time traveling because I
I
knew
mean,
that he
it was
was going
kind
to.
of about time traveling,
Not technically.
space and time.
Yeah, but
They were gone for a few minutes.
it's not really that
Time had passed between the experiment and when the experiment was talked about.
doesn't really count.
I'm sure they traveled somewhere at some point and it took some time to get there.
Well, technically they did because people were fused to the ship.
Yeah.
So they definitely traveled from one area to the next.
Imagine like
And Virginia.
being assigned a new ship and just walking into your compartment and then seeing like somebody's face just on the bunk on top of you.
Maybe I have seen this movie. Or something like loosely derived from this.
There was a ghost movie that was on it's called Ghost Ship.
Never seen it.
And like the first like 30 minutes is just like the ship killing people.
Never seen it.
Mm. It's not a good movie.
Doesn't sound like a good
It's
movie.
not. It's not. I
Not a creep
do
pick.
I do actually want to watch the like movie for the Philadelphia experiment though, just to kind of see like what it's about.
Okay. We can do that. But a movie you guys should watch is our creep pick. So, like I said, did not go off the theme of the episode because I didn't know what the episode was about because I do not trust what he says to me about what the episodes are going to be about. So this week, our creep pick is a bone-chilling thriller, Barbarian. Imagine this, you are in town for a job interview, exhausted from the journey, and all you want is a good night's sleep at your Airbnb rental. But what happens next will send shivers down your spine. A young woman arrives at her Airbnb late at night, only to realize that the house has been mistakenly double booked. And to make matters worse, there's already a strange man staying there. Against her better judgment, and please don't ever do this, but she decides to stay the night anyway. But little does she know, the house holds dark secrets, and there's much more to fear than just her unexpected house guest. I don't want to spoil too much, but let's just say that there is a sinister turn, and what unfolds will keep you hooked until the very end. Barbarian delivers an intense, gripping experience that will leave you questioning every creak in your own home. So if you're a fan of heart-pounding thrills and mysterious twists, be sure to add Barbarian to your watch list. Until next time, remember, keep your lights on, doors locked, and your eyes wide open. You never know if you're truly alone. I was actually just reminded of this movie not too long ago. I completely forgot about it until like last week.
Yeah, I saw like there was so much about that movie when the movie came out. And I thought the movie was good. I think the movie was like definitely overhyped though.
I think because it came out the same time as Smile came out, they were like putting it.
They were like they
Yeah.
wanted them to compete against each other.
Yeah.
Smile is significantly better.
Smile is significant. Yeah.
But
Yes.
like that's the kind of scary movies that I like. Like I like creepy scary movies more than I like scary horror movies. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to describe the difference between the two
Um,
without giving it away. Like I'm
yes.
not a huge fan of monster movies is what I mean.
I mean, saying that this is a monster movie is very.
Right. I get what you're saying. Like it's not a monster movie.
Yeah.
It's not a monster movie, but that's like the closest thing that I can like compare it to. Like what kind of a horror movie would it be?
It's a suspense. It's a suspense horror movie.
Right, but you know, there's like a haunting or like found footage or
I mean,
gore or, you know, what kind of a there's thriller, there's
it would most likely be a thriller because
or like a I'm sorry, like a psychological thriller, like that kind of scary movie. Somebody's yelling at us right now. Um but I mean like the movie itself very like uneasy, like unsettling.
yeah, you think you know where the movie is going and then you are
Yes.
wrong each time.
Yes, I will definitely 100,000% agree with that. Like every time you think like, "Oh, this is what's going on," or "Oh, that's what's going to happen." You're wrong every time.
You may be very close to it, but then you don't think that's going to happen.
Mhm.
Like you didn't even think that was an option of what was going to happen in that moment and then it does do that and then you're like, "Oh, okay.
What?
We're going this route." And then you're not going that route. Then you are on the USS Enterprise
in
And
Virginia and New York.
right. So it's a good movie. Watch it. That's the whole point of this segment. Um, but yeah,
I
it's a
like
good
the
one.
movie. I think the movie was really good. But when you compare it, you released the movie at the wrong time. I think the movie, I would have enjoyed the movie a lot better if it was released at a different time. Because I think it is like what you said. I think they wanted to have Smile and Barbarian compete. So like there was all of this hype
Hmm.
around Barbarian, but there was also a lot of hype around Smile.
We also watched Smile and then Barbarian. We did like a double feature that night.
Mhm.
Like at home, we didn't like go to the movies. We had like a 4-month-old baby at the time.
Mhm.
So we watched it like at home, but we did watch one movie and then the next right after it.
Yeah.
And so that's also a reason why he doesn't think they don't compare. They're two different movies,
Yeah.
but he doesn't think they compare in that sense because we literally watched them back to back.
Yeah. Yep. I like both. I think both were great movies. I just preferred one over the other.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyways, let's get into our cryptid of the week.
What do we got?
For this week's cryptid of the week, we are shining the spotlight on the infamous Lone Pine Mountain Devil, a winged carnivore straight out of North American folklore. The Lone Pine Mountain Devil is described as a bat like creature with razor sharp talons and venomous fangs. And it's no wonder that early accounts labeled it as a winged demon sent from the depths of hell. It is absolutely bone chilling, and get this, there are some that believe that it is a distant relative to the notorious Jersey Devil. Little callback from season one. Well, not season one, season two, episode one. If you listen to the Jersey Devil,
Bat like wings.
yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
So maybe cousins. Who knows? The sightings of the cryptid date back to the mid 19th century, with settlers spreading tales of its vicious attacks on unsuspecting victims. It is said to feast only on the soft cartilage areas of the face and torso, leaving the rest of its prey to rot.
Wasteful.
I mean, or maybe it's just being like,
Picky.
not picky, but like, what is like sharing?
Courteous.
Yeah, courteous to the other cryptids
Yeah, but it says
around.
they leave it to rot.
Well, that's what we think. What does the Lone Mountain Devil think?
That's true. He's giving it to his cousin.
Yeah. So, gruesome sight, but let's not forget about its alleged role as a guardian to the wilderness. According to believers, the Lone Pine Mountain Devil targets those who disrespect nature and disturb its peaceful habitat. A sort of natural enforcer, if you will. He's probably a Taurus.
Honestly, yeah.
Probably. Perhaps the most chilling encounter with this cryptid occurred in 1878 when an entire stagecoach train of Spanish settlers vanished in the Sierra Nevada mountains. The lone survivor, a priest named Father Justice Martinez, described a harrowing ordeal involving a swarm of winged demons attacking the convoy during an unruly celebration. And with sightings dwindling since the early 1900s, one can't help but wonder, has the lone Pine Mountain Devil retreated into the shadows, or is it still out there, lurking in the darkness? I guess we'll never know for sure, but as the legend of the Lone Pine Mountain Devil continues to captivate our imagination, one thing's for sure: whether fact or fiction, this cryptid will forever haunt the shadowy corners of our minds.
I like this guy.
So I don't know why I didn't write it, but there are some accounts and some descriptions of the Lone Pine Mountain Devil that say that there are multiple wings. And they're like, well, so yeah, there's like razor sharp talons, but there's like also razor sharp multiple wings. So it's a really fucking crazy looking thing.
I'm sure you're looking at it or you've seen it already. If you're watching us over on YouTube for the video version, if you're only on the audio version, that's okay too. We still love you. Head over to YouTube though and
Not as
go.
much because I work really hard on the visuals, but
She said, "Fuck you and your mama." Uh, I like this guy. He's a protector of nature and animals and stuff.
I don't know about animals, just nature.
Animals are part of nature.
Well, probably just like the foliage.
Oh,
He probably just cares about the leaves.
I consider animals as part of nature,
Yeah, but
but not
again,
humans.
what are we? We think that, but what does the Lone Pine Mountain Devil think?
I don't know.
We need to think about what they think.
Still upset about how you wasteful they are though. It's a lot of food.
Again, he's probably just giving it to his homeboy Jersey Devil.
Does he know our boy Oscar?
I don't think they are in the same realm of
Mm,
like, what is it? Areas. I don't know.
damn. Different regions, different parts of the world. I don't know. I like this bat.
He's not a bat.
A bat-like creature.
Yeah, but he's not a bat. He's not
Bat-like creature.
just a bat.
Giant bat. Let's look at what he looks like.
That also brings me to just because we were talking about how this is from North America folklore. And I have figured out that
Holy shit!
yeah, I'm telling you, multiple wings, I'm telling you. Figured out that I've really only been looking at North American folklore. Why have I not dove into other places? Why am I being an American right now? Like, there are so many other cryptids that we can get into and we will get into. Maybe we got to close the chapter on these guys. Who knows?
This is so cool.
Multiple wings, razor sharp wings.
This one looks like a squirrel.
That just looks like a bat.
This looks like a capybara with wings. Like
No,
a
it
scary
doesn't.
capybara.
It looks like a horse.
No, look at those. Look at those front legs.
Look at the rest of it.
No, that's not built like a horse.
A capybara is like a chubby thing.
Love capybaras. I'm gonna be looking at this thing all day. This is a cool thing. I wish they existed in real life. I'd want one as a pet.
Huh? They do exist in real life.
Like, regularly available.
Who says they can't be?
They're not. I don't have one.
Well, that sounds like a you problem.
I would like one. If anybody knows where I can find one of these New England Patriots, um send them over and we're going to get one. What's next?
This day in history. That's next.
Tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day.
Tomorrow is
This
St. Patrick's Day, yeah?
episode is going out the day after St. Patrick's Day. So let's see what kind of drunk shenanigans people got up to.
It's not that.
Oh, damn. That would have
So,
been really cool. I had no idea what the this day in history was about.
no. Today's This Day in History segment is going to completely not be that.
Oh man.
On March 18th, 1925, the deadliest tornado in U.S. history tore through the heartland, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Known as the Tri-State Tornado, this monstrous twister carved a path of destruction through eastern Missouri, southern Illinois, and southern Indiana, claiming the lives of 695 people and injuring thousands more. It's completely hard to fathom the sheer power of this tornado. With wind speeds exceeding over 300 miles per hour and a width of over a mile, it left entire communities in ruins and forever changed the lives of those who survived. And what's even more chilling is the ban on forecasting tornadoes or even using the word tornado until 1950. So, can you imagine the terror of facing such a catastrophic event without any warning? But nothing could have ever prepared them for the ferocity of the tri state tornado. From the small town of Ellington, Missouri, to the mining community of Annapolis and the bustling city of Murfreesboro, no corner was spared from the wrath of this deadly storm. The stories of survival are both harrowing and heartbreaking, from schoolchildren huddled under desks to families torn apart in an instant. It's a reminder of the fragility of life in the face of nature's fury. And as we reflect on this dark chapter in history, let us honor the memory of those who lost their lives and the resilience of those who survived. May we never forget their lessons learned from the tri state tornado of 1925. So, not drunken shenanigans, unless the earth was drunk.
Almost.
Also, love the term tri state.
Yeah, I just kept thinking about Doofenshmirtz.
Mm-hmm.
We don't live in a tornado area. Never have. We've seen like small ones. Like this, probably like, I think the biggest one that I've seen in person was maybe like a 3-4 story building.
When did you see that?
Driving home from Folsom.
Oh, I drove through a tornado once.
Yeah, yeah. I was on the phone with you. I heard the rocks and stuff hitting
Yeah, I
in the
drove through
windshield
it.
and everything. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Drove through a tornado.
Yeah, I didn't drive through the one that I saw. I just drove past it. It was like way out in the distance over there. And I was just driving. I was like, holy shit, that's a tornado.
Yeah.
I've never seen one in person before.
I mean, I can only imagine how like terrifying they are in
Like a real tornado.
yeah,
Like a
not
real
just a little
tornado.
tiny one that
Yeah.
like I think I was in my
Not just spinning air.
right, I think I was in my Wrangler at the time, so I was in a pretty like beast of a vehicle,
Yeah.
but yeah, uh,
Yeah.
my car was shaking.
Yeah. I can't imagine being in like a real tornado. That sounds terrifying. Like, just seeing the small one that I saw was more than enough to make me like shit my pants.
I
I'm like,
kind of want to see one just pick up a cow.
I want to see it happen
Mhm.
just to see it happen. But then we got to figure out how to teleport because I want to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I mean if it like didn't do like actual damage to anything, like I would love to just see a tornado.
They're like, yeah, they're cool. Like, I think that those like tornado watch guys,
Mhm.
so cool. Those guys are so cool. They just chase storms.
Again, I just want to see it pick up a cow. Like I want to see a cow go.
I think that that's awesome. I think that the people who do that and like chase storms and get all the data and shit on the storms, fucking cool as shit.
Yeah, and why was there a ban on
I
saying
was
the
gonna
word tornado?
I was gonna ask that. Why? What's with the ban on like reporting tornadoes? Like, wouldn't you want them to report
I
tornadoes?
have no idea. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, because that's kind of fucked. Like, why would you? Why would you actively keep tornadoes from people? Like, hey, are you gonna die? Who knows?
What's the government doing?
With the tornadoes. The USS Enterprise created tornado.
Benjamin Franklin banned tornadoes. Okay, so there was a time when weather forecasters didn't report on tornadoes at all In fact, they weren't allowed to. In the late 19th century, the word tornado was banned from American weather forecasts. I was trying to say fornicate. These storms were thought to be so terrifying that reporting them might cause a panic. It's supposed
That's
to.
what it's there for. You're supposed to panic. You're supposed to panic.
Base.
What?
Okay, so when was this? But basically, a century. Oh my God, let's talk about the tri-state tornado. Literally right now. Basically, a century ago, all the warning you might have gotten about an approaching tornado was an was an old was an old farmhand yelling, "It's a twister."
It's a twister.
Well, yeah, because you didn't fucking tell people that the tornado was coming.
They're just like, good luck. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
So, okay, I mean, like we just said, or like I just said, like the tri state tornado of 1925 made meteorologists start using the word tornado in their forecasts again. But why was it in the beginning? Like, when did that start? But 25 years later? Wait,
Yeah,
hold on. Is that right?
that's crazy.
Yes, because it happened in 1925, and then in 1950, the chief of the Weather Bureau removed the ban. These days, tornado forecasting is still hard to pull off, but we still don't fully understand how these. Okay, well, yeah, I don't either, but like, I'm not part of what you guys do. But still,
Not part of what you guys do. It's not my fucking job.
that's just ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
How were they warned?
It's like banning the word fire in a movie theater,
When was the term
you
tornado
know?
first used?
Because fires were a huge problem in movie theaters back then because the film that they would use is very, very, very highly flammable. And like the way that you illuminate the films is with a bulb. What happened to bulbs when they're on for too long? They get hot. So movie theaters are very highly flammable back then.
You
I'm
know what
sure
was
still
also
now too.
highly flammable? Planes. Why did they allow smoking on planes?
Why do they allow smoking like everywhere? Cigarettes are terrible for you.
But an open flame?
Yeah, in a plane, in a pressurized cabin.
Ridiculous. Of course, the ban on the word tornado wouldn't have been. Okay, tell me why. I don't care about the.
Now, if you wanted to open up some like weed consumption, that's a different story. She went on a whole rabbit hole. She's looking up when they started banning the word tornado.
In 1938, the Weather Bureau eased up a bit. The tornado already happened. That's ridiculous. I still don't know why.
Look, 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 those guys. Those
Yeah.
guys with like the truck? With the tornado proof truck? I want to be in one.
In 1948, after correctly predicting several outbreaks among themselves, they finally announced an upcoming doozy, the first tornado forecast in history. So they can use the word tornado. Well, it wasn't even banned until 2 years later. I literally don't understand why. But there you go. You learned two things today. I'm looking this up later. So yeah, tornadoes and talon bats.
A lot of things today.
I do all of my learning on Saturdays.
Oh no, I usually, you know, spend the week
That's how
doing
unprepared
stuff.
I am. I literally do it on the day that we record. But I learn a lot in one day.
Yeah. Well,
Hope you guys learned something because I'm learning about this tornado ban for the rest of the night.
if any of you guys does the whole
If any of you guys
tornado
does,
thing, let me know. Because I want to do that. I, hmm,
You definitely need like
I'm going to shit myself,
certifications for that.
but I want to go.
Well, maybe you don't. I don't think you do,
So,
actually.
one of you guys, hit me up. Let's make something happen.
While you're getting the question of the week, would the Lone Mountain Pine Devil be your pet cryptid? Or are you still with the Dewyo?
Honestly, I think that I am gonna switch to Oscar.
You can't take my pet.
Okay, fine then. Yeah, sure. I like the bat wings.
Because I still have Oscar. Oscar's still my guy. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, why do you start in the middle? Why do you start on the most recent episode? You gotta watch the first episode all the way to the next. So we are talking about my, what is it? I guess long running question that started last episode. But if you were to be able to domesticate a cryptid, any of the cryptids that we've talked about, or any of the cryptids that we will talk about, what would be your cryptid pet? And I said Oscar, and he has the Dewyo. Well, now he has the Lone Mountain
Mountain
Pine Devil.
Devil.
Yes.
And he has 4 bat wings.
It's a very cool guy.
Super cool. But comment question of the week. What's your favorite video game? I'd like to know. Because that kind of plays into what we're gonna be talking about next week.
Possibly.
I'm gonna be honest, it probably won't.
It's just knowledge that he could have.
I'm gonna give it the good old college try to like really make it about. But we'll see. Sometimes I like changing my mind like the day of. Gotta keep them on their
Sometimes.
gotta keep them on their toes.
He's literally done that
Never let them know your next move.
like the last 3 times.
Yeah.
We're only on episode 8, and he's done it the last 3
You gotta
times.
keep them guessing. You gotta keep them guessing. You gotta be unpredictable sometimes.
Just like Oscar.
I love Oscar.
I think Oscar's very predictable, honestly. He's a pretty cool
He
dude.
sounds like he just vibes.
He does?
Um, I think that's all for us though. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Leilani May Raimundo and on Facebook, Leilani Giliberte. And like I said, don't find me on Twitter, so I'm not going to tell you what it is.
And you can find me over at John_Raimundo on X and Instagram. Facebook, just Jonathan Raimundo. And you can also follow us and the show over at Got Creeps on X and Instagram. We're not active on X, but I will try to be. What else do we got? You can email us your stories at yougotcreeps@gmail.com. I think that's it.
Yeah, thanks. So thank you again for episode 8. So
Nope. 7.
we're on 8.
We're on 8. Did I say 8 in the beginning?
I have no idea. I wasn't listening to you. So thank you again for listening to the 8th episode of Got Creeps. Don't forget to like the video, like the podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share with your friends so we can reach more people who love the weird, mysterious, and creepy. We will be back next week with your weekly dose of the creeps.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, I think I hit the microphone.
You did.